Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to this new video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Dominika. Today I would like to give you a quick update on my balcony. This is going to be actually the first tour of 2025. I used to make these tours every single month, but after doing it for a few years now, I was worried that it will become a little bit redundant. So what I would like to do instead this year is to give you some more seasonal updates. So for example, today I'm going to give you an update, like a post-winter update, just to show you how my garden looks when it's just waking up from its winter dormancy, and then I can give you another update, for example mid-spring when all the spring bulbs are in bloom. And that's, I think, how we are going to continue throughout this year. So I have some really exciting things I want to share with you today. But before we begin, a couple of informations that I think may be relevant. First is that my terrace is northeast facing, so it receives a couple of hours of morning sunlight in summer, but the sun exposure is very uneven. You know, some parts of the balcony don't receive any sunlight at all, and then other parts receive maybe 2 hours of sunlight. And then the railing planters here, these receive about 4.5 hours of sunlight. So that's a pretty decent amount of sunlight already, but it's only the railing planters. The rest of the balcony doesn't receive that much. And then I garden in zone 8, which may seem like a pretty mild climate, but I feel like our winters are getting progressively colder. I thought that last winter was the coldest, but then this winter was even colder. Like, we had temperatures drop below freezing from mid-December all the way until mid-February, and the coldest temperatures reached minus 10 degrees Celsius. So that's pretty cold, and I was a little bit worried that some of my plants wouldn't make it. I think it's okay for the most part. I mean, you never know until all the plants wake up from their dormancy, but I think it's okay for the most part. So let's go, let me show you how the balcony looks, and let me share with you a couple of really exciting things. Alright, so why don't we start here with my what I like to call a veggie garden. It doesn't look like much just yet. For now, what I have here, I have this vertical planter where I recently planted some cool weather crops. I shared that with you in my last video. We have alpine strawberries, we have blueberry bushes. These are full of buds. I'm really excited. This is gonna be their 4th year, so I'm hoping for a nice harvest. They bloom and they produce best in their 3rd and 4th year. I have 2 bushes. I have one over there and one on the floor over here. One is pink, one is blue. We have some herbs. I'm gonna be definitely growing more herbs. Just a couple of herbs that I keep as perennials: chives, some rosemary, poor rosemary squished in the corner over there. Doesn't grow very well because it doesn't receive a lot of sunlight, but that's plenty enough for me, for what I need in my kitchen. I'm definitely gonna be growing more herbs. I'm also preparing my lettuce planter over here. I just need to buy more soil. And then we have a couple of random containers with bulbs, some daffodils sprouting, muscari, more, I think, muscari. These will not be here later in the season. I'm just keeping them for now here because I just want a little bit of color over here once these are in full bloom. Then we have one lonely strawberry that was a little experiment last year. I didn't get to enjoy many of them because birds ate most of it. I should protect them and put some net on them this year. Technically, strawberries need a little bit more sunlight than what they can get in my garden, but I'm giving it a try. One other thing that I'm going to be giving a try to are tomatoes. I honestly never thought that I'm gonna grow tomatoes successfully in a shady garden, but last year I gave a try to one micro dwarf tomato. I placed it strategically here on the railings where they can get as much sun as possible, and I had an incredible harvest. I harvested handfuls of cherry tomatoes all throughout summer. So this year I'm giving it I'm taking it up a notch, let's say. I planted like 6 micro dwarf tomato varieties, and I'm gonna be growing them all on the railings this year. So I'm thinking of buying more of these metal plant supports so that I can place my tomato pots all along the railings. This is the only way I can grow them. I don't think they would grow if I place them over here because this kind of area receives about 3 hours of sunlight versus 4.5 hours of sunlight. That's a huge difference. Sometimes even 20-30 minutes can make a really big difference. So I want to give them the best chance. As we move forward, I have 2 climbers on each side of this garden arch. This is one of my favorite things that I added to this garden. I think that it really needed this beautiful vertical accent. So on this side I have a Clematis jackmanii. It's going to be its 2nd season. It bloomed beautifully last year already. I recently pruned it. And on the other side Over here we have Rosemary Delaney, or Delaney, however you want to pronounce it. I also pruned it recently, and this rose was recommended for shady gardens, so I wanted to give it a try. It bloomed beautifully last year already. I gave you an update. I posted like a video 1-year update on this rose last fall, so if you are interested in growing roses in the shade, you can check it out. So for now it's growing well. I'm really looking forward to see how it performs in its second growing season. Over here, this little grouping of plants on the floor, I really like this combo, let's say, of these two obelisks. I think that's something that I saw like a long time ago in a garden magazine or a gardening book. They had like a little plant display with two obelisks like these, so I really wanted to create something similar in my garden. So on the smaller obelisk we have Ivy Glacier, and over here we have a clematis. This is a new addition to my garden. I planted it this spring. This is clematis Josephine, beautiful pink double bloom clematis. So last year I had Passiflora Eapopea growing on this obelisk, and I was really excited to grow Passiflora in my garden, but I guess I just didn't think it all the way through. Sometimes that happens, you know, I should know better, but you know, mistakes happen. And as long as it grew well and it bloomed beautifully, it's just that this type of support wasn't the best idea for Passiflora, because Passiflora is not really gonna just wrap itself around the obelisk. It likes to shoot sideways, so it's more suitable for like a trellis or a pergola type of support. So I ended up giving it away to my parents-in-law because I didn't have place for it to grow elsewhere in my garden. So I gave it to my parents-in-law because they were searching for a new climber for their sunny balcony. They have the space for it, so I'm really excited to see how it grows and how it blooms for them this year. And now let me show you something super exciting. Look at this, you guys. My balcony bees are hatching. This is so mesmerizing to watch. So I've had this bihoter for several years now, and I'm really excited because this is the first year I actually get to see them hatching in real life, and the first time I can actually capture this on camera. Usually I missed that moment because it happens within a few days, but this year there is at least a dozen of bees, I think, that hatched, and there's many more to come. So I'm really excited. It's very mesmerizing to watch, and for me, you know, it's the best reward ever. Like, all the time and effort spent into nurturing this garden pays off when you see new bees hatch in your little urban oasis. So that's very precious, and I'm very very excited about this. So if you guys would like a couple of tips on how to attract bees to your urban garden, how to encourage them to nest in your bee hotel, let me know in the comment section. I can definitely make a video about that and share that with you later in the season. And also I wanted to say that I know this bee hotel should not be on the floor. It should be high up, far from area where people walk by, so it's like against all the rules. But it actually fell from the area where it was placed initially, and the roof broke several times. I tried to repair it several times. I glued it, but it never worked. So I gave up. I placed it on the floor, sorry. But since I placed it here, which is literally right by my kitchen window where I walk by several times a day, they started to nest. And I think that's because this area is protected from the wind. My terrace is very windy, so I feel like they feel protected here. So they've been nesting here for at least 3 years now, so I don't feel like I should be moving it at this point. I also need to be careful because some bees fly out right away, but some just chill on the floor for a while. So you need to be careful to not step on them. Okay, let's move forward and let's take a quick look at my pansies. They are blooming their heads off. I've never had pansies bloom so beautifully, but this time I've been fertilizing them very regularly with the Power Roots. This is sort of a booster that helps your plant survive frost. It helps your plant cope with all kinds of things like pest and disease attack, helps them with the transplant shock and many other things. And I've been fertilizing them several times throughout fall and winter, and I think that really made a huge difference. We also have some narcissus, some daffodil bulbs planted underneath. There we go. These are Narcissus minnow. And once they are in bloom, I think this will look really, really beautiful. Over here I have my bulb lasagna, and we have first crocus blooming. This is Crocus pickwick. So there is plenty of Crocus pickwick that makes the first layer of the bulb lasagna. Then we have pink tulips. I don't remember the name of those tulips. And then I think, white alliums. All of the bulbs are sprouting. You can see the tulips, you can see the alliums, but we are a couple of weeks behind usually at this time of year. My garden is full of spring bulbs, but this year everything is a little bit behind. Not much is happening in this grouping over here. We have Japanese maple. Still, this one is still not waking up. I removed my bird seed pine cones because the birds were not coming to feed on them anymore, and I really need to buy no sprout bird seeds next year because those seeds sprouted absolutely everywhere in every single one of those containers. We have Euonymus harlequin starting to put on some fresh growth, looking very beautiful. Some ornamental grass still dormant, hellebore, and hydrangea. Still not much to see here. And we arrived to the other end of the balcony. This is my shady garden. This area does not receive any direct sunlight at all. Only a couple of these plants on this side receive some sunlight. We have a bay laurel trimmed into a topiary. We have some perennials on the floor, heuchera, silver gumdrop, another hellebore, another ornamental grass, and in these empty looking pots we have plenty of perennials, hostas. What else? We have some ferns, some branera, some podophyllum and stuff like that, and Japanese maple. This one is called Orange Dream, and this one is waking up already. And above here on the wall we have Clematis montana, Maylene. It still looks pretty dormant. Usually it blooms by the end of March, early April. Probably gonna bloom a little bit later this year. But once it's in bloom, it's always a beautiful flower show. And this is how the garden looks from this perspective. Alright friends, thank you so much for spending some time with me in the garden today. I hope that you enjoyed this tour. If you did, I'm gonna put some other videos up here on the screen that you may want to check out. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a beautiful day, and we will see each other in the next one.